Have you ever stood at the edge of the ocean, feeling the raw power of the waves crashing against the shore? That rhythmic, relentless force that never stops, day or night. I have, and every time I'm stuck by the same thought, there's an incredible amount of untapped energy right there, just waiting to be harnessed. What if I told you that the ocean waves contain enough energy to potentially replace both solar and wind power? Sounds too good to be true, right? Well, that's exactly what I thought until I discovered a global revolution in wave energy technology that's quietly transforming renewable energy as we know it. Hello everyone and welcome to PhysxX. Today I'm taking you on a journey into the world of wave energy, not the failed experience of the past, but cutting-edge approaches from innovative companies around the world that are surviving monster waves while constantly delivering clean power to the grid. This isn't just another renewable energy story. This is about a fundamental shift that could reshape our entire energy landscape. Let's put this in perspective. The global ocean carries more energy in its waves than all the electricity humans generated in 2023. That's over 30,000 terawatt hours. Just along the US coastline, wave energy could potentially generate enough electricity to power 71 million homes. That's 18% of America's electricity needs. But here's the million-dollar question. If wave energy is so promising, why aren't our coastlines already lined with wave converters? Why are we still primarily focused on solar panels and wind turbines? The answer lies in a sea of broken dreams, literally. For decades, wave energy has been the renewable energy world's greatest disappointment. Ocean Links lost two floating generators of Australia. Pelmis created the world's first wave farm in Portugal, only to fold during the 2008 financial crisis. The ocean, it turns out, is an incredibly harsh environment for machinery. Think about it. Constant saltwater corrosion, unpredictable storm surges, and the relentless pounding of waves. It's like trying to build a delicate watch that can survive being repeatedly thrown against a wall while submerged in salt water. Not exactly a recipe for success, right? But what if we have been approaching the problem all wrong? What if, instead of fighting against the ocean's power, we could tune into it? Like a surfer who rides the wave rather than battling against it. That's exactly what innovative companies around the world are doing. Let's start with Sweden's CorPower Ocean. Their approach is nothing short of brilliant. Rather than creating massive structures that try to brute force energy from waves, they have developed sleek 9-meter buoys that work with the ocean's natural rhythm. Picture this, a bright yellow buoy bobbing on the ocean surface, tethering to the seafloor. As waves pass by, the buoy doesn't just rise passively. It actively responds to each wave using a clever tension system that pulls it downward between crests. The technology is inspired by human heart's pumping mechanism. This innovation features a lightweight, low-cost design that maximizes energy generation while ensuring durability in extreme ocean conditions. The buoy absorbs wave energy, converting it into rotational motion through a novel phase control system that optimizes synchronizations with wave rhythms. This motion drives internal generators to produce electricity efficiently. This means it harvests energy not just as it rises with the wave but also as it sinks, squeezing twice the power from every wave cycle. By merging bio-inspired principles with advanced hydrodynamics, the system achieves robust high-capacity performance, offering a suitable and scalable solution for renewable energy extraction from the ocean's relentless motion. CorPower isn't alone in this global race. Have you heard about EcoWave Power? This Swedish Israeli company is taking a completely different approach. Instead of placing devices in the open ocean, they're attaching their wave energy converters to existing structures like piers and breakwaters. The technology is already operational in Israel, and they're rapidly expanding with projects in the United States, Portugal, India, and Taiwan. Meanwhile, in California, a company called CalWaves is pioneering yet another innovative approach. Their X-Wave technology operates while submerged beneath the surface, automatically adjusting its depth during storms to avoid damage. After successful testing of San Diego, they are now working on an indigenous-led project in British Columbia and planning larger deployment in Oregon. It's not just private companies driving this wave energy revolution. Governments around the world are making serious commitments too. The United Kingdom, with its 30 gigawatts of untapped wave and tidal energy potential, has established itself as a global leader. Through programs like Wave Energy Scotland and the Marine Energy Council, they've contracted over 120 megawatts of marine energy capacity. Their goal? To secure a £17 billion in economic value through leading the tidal stream exports market. Across the Atlantic, the US Department of Energy has recently announced a $112 million investment over 5 years to advance wave energy's commercial readiness. They have also established PacWave, the first fully permitted grid-connected wave energy test site in the United States. Even in Asia, the momentum is building. India's Ministry of New and Renewable Energy has identified a staggering 40,000 megawatts of potential along their coastline. China has deployed its first full-scale wave energy converter in Guangdong, and Taiwan is actively partnering with international companies to harness their considerable wave resource. Now, I think you're thinking, this all sounds great in theory, but the ocean has a way of destroying even the most promising technologies. Saltwater destroys technology mainly because its sodium chloride content creates corrosive salt residue that remain on electronic components after the water evaporates, causing ongoing corrosion and damage. Additionally, saltwater is highly conductive, leading to electrical shorts and malfunctions in devices not designed for such exposure. This corrosion and electrical interference degrades metal and circuit boards, eventually causing failures of sensors, connectors, and other electronic compartments. That's what makes this recent achievement so remarkable. In 2023, CorPower's wave energy converters faced the ultimate stress test when 4 winter storms hammered the test site in Portugal. We are talking about monster waves reaching up to 60 feet high. That's the height of a 6-story building. Most wave energy devices would have been torn apart or sunk. But CorPower's way didn't just survive, they adapted. Using AI control systems, they automatically detuned themselves during the storm, becoming more transparent to the massive waves, similar to how wind turbines feather their blades during high gust. And once the storm passed, they returned and resumed sending clean electricity to the grid. Similarly, EcoPower's technology has proven its durability in real-world conditions. Their EWP-EDF-1 project in Israel has been successfully operating through Mediterranean storms, while CalWave's X-Wave completed an extended 10-month trial of the California's coast. This isn't just an incredible improvement, it's a fundamental breakthrough that could finally make wave energy commercially viable across the globe. Here's where wave energy gets even more exciting. It's the perfect partner for other renewables. Think about the challenges with solar and wind. Solar doesn't work at night, and wind can be unpredictable. According to Stanford researchers, offshore wind in California can stall for around 1,000 hours in a year. That's nearly 42 days of no power. But the ocean, it only goes still for about 200 hours annually. And when you combine wind and wave energy, that downtime shrinks to just 100 hours a year. That's a game changer for grid reliability. Have you ever noticed how winter storms bring bigger waves? That's another advantage. Wave energy peaks in winter, precisely when solar generation drops due to shorter, cloudier days. Along the US West Coast, winter wave energy is approximately 4 times higher than in summer. This complementary relationship means we could potentially reduce our reliance on expensive battery storage if waves and wind power continue to get cheaper as expected. Pairing them could reduce the total amount of energy we need to generate for a zero-emission grid in the western US by as much as 17%. That's not just good for engineering, that's good economics. Speaking of economics, there's another brilliant aspect of wave energy that often gets overlooked: co-location with offshore wind farms. Imagine this scenario. Instead of building separate infrastructure for wind and wave energy, you combine them. One environmental permit, one survey, shared maintenance vessels and crews, and most importantly, a shared subsea cable, one of the most expensive components of getting offshore electricity to shore. The numbers are compelling. Wave Energy Scotland estimated that pairing a 100 megawatt wave farm with a 500 megawatt wind farm could cut the wind project's capital cost by 7% and the wave project's cost by a whopping 40%. Bundle them together and the total cost would drop by 12%, just by sharing infrastructure and operations. This approach is already being explored in Denmark, where Ørsted and Wave Piston are investigating how to optimize offshore wind areas by replacing wave energy converters in the space between turbines. Now, I know some of you are thinking, what about marine life? Won't these devices harm ocean ecosystems? It's a valid concern and one that any responsible energy technology needs to address. Traditional offshore installations often use pile diving, which creates underwater noises that can disrupt marine life and drive away fish, dolphins, and whales. But companies like CorPower are taking a different approach. Instead of hammering steel pipes into the seabed, their UMAC anchor system uses vibrations to install anchors with minimal noise pollution. Their buoy also operates quietly compared to other constant whooshing of wind turbines. And here's an unexpected benefit. The wave energy areas could actually create artificial reefs. Marine life tends to cluster around the structures in the open ocean, potentially increasing biodiversity in the area. Early studies suggest that wave energy farms could potentially become marine sanctuaries, providing new habitat while generating clean energy. So, where does this leave us? Is wave energy finally ready to join solar and wind as a major player in our renewable energy future? The evidence suggests we are at a global tipping point. CorPower is planning its first commercial wave farms, with projections showing costs falling below €100 per megawatt hour by 2030, competitive with other renewables today. EcoWave power is rapidly expanding across 4 continents, and government support is growing worldwide, from UK's targeted auctions to the US Department of Energy's substantial investments. By 2050, wave energy could potentially supply 10% of Europe's electricity needs. The global wave and tidal energy market is projected to grow significantly from its current $1.1 billion valuation, creating hundreds of thousands of jobs in coastal communities worldwide. Think about what this means globally. Wave energy doesn't just offer clean electricity. It brings jobs, economic development, and energy security to coastal regions around the world. And unlike solar farms that require vast land areas, wave energy harnesses power from an already abundant resource without competing for valuable real estate. But perhaps most exciting is how wave energy could help solve one of renewable energy's biggest challenges: intermittency. By creating a more stable, reliable renewable energy mix, wave power could accelerate our transition away from fossil fuels and towards truly a sustainable energy system. The ocean has always been a source of wonders and possibilities. Now, after decades of trial and error, innovative companies and forward-thinking governments around the world are finally learning to work with its immense power rather than against it. Wave energy won't replace solar and wind overnight, nor should it. Each renewable technology has its strengths and ideal applications, but as CorPower, EcoWave, CalWave, and other innovators continue to refine their approaches, wave energy is positioned to become an essential third pillar in our global renewable energy portfolio. So, the next time you're standing at the beach watching waves roll in one after another, remember, you're not just seeing the timeless rhythm of nature, you're witnessing the future of energy, powerful, renewable, and finally within our grasp. The question isn't whether wave energy will transform our energy landscape. It's how quickly we'll ride this global wave of innovation to a cleaner, more sustainable future. Are you ready to catch this wave? Because from where I'm standing, it looks like the perfect time to dive in.